Now, there's a tradition in Philadelphia where we hate Dallas. All right? We hate the Cowboys. It's one of our traditions. Twice a year when we play them, or if they see them in the playoffs, or when they're playing a game against a team when we need them to lose, we hate Dallas. It's a tradition in the city of Philadelphia. And for many years, the players participated in that tradition. I mean, going back to when I was a kid, I know Jaws did, and Randall and them, all the way forward to B-Dog and Malcolm Jenkins, Fletcher Cox. They all hated Dallas. It's one of our traditions. It's a tradition. We know Slay is not part of that tradition. He goes weekly on a podcast with a Cowboy. He doesn't care. He's not like us in that way, and he's a team leader, which puts other young players in a bind. Can Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean learn to hate Dallas if the leader of the secondary loves Dallas? So it's a weird dynamic. This would have never happened with Troy Vincent and Bobby Taylor. This would have never happened with Lito Shepherd and Sheldon Brown. This would have just never happened with even Nnamdi Asomugha knew to hate Dallas, and he wasn't even good here. I mean, you hate Dallas. It's our tradition. Also this year, Dallas isn't very good. So I got to ask the people, because organically we haven't seen. Now, it could be because they're not that good. Do you still hate Dallas the same way you used to? This applies to the younger generation. This applies to the older generation. You know, does the younger generation take the lead from Slay and go, hey, you should be working out with Cowboys in the offseason and just treat them like they're just anybody else? I don't consider local Dallas fans, I barely consider them human. Like, that's well known. Like, I have family members. I've told the story many times. If they're Cowboys fans, I don't speak to them. I don't acknowledge that they exist. I still, with a heat that is hot as the sun, hate Dallas and hate Dallas fans. I don't respect them. I don't root for them. I mean, the only exception that's ever worn the Dallas uniform that I don't hate, there's two exceptions total that I can think of in my life. The gold standard as a color analyst currently, and that's Troy Aikman. I can't hate him. I try.
Really?
How could I hate Troy Aikman? He does a tremendous job with Joe Buck.
Always looked like his helmet was on too tight.
No. I'm just saying, if you tell, I'm talking about ever. Like, I still hate Emmett. Like, Jay Novacek, Witten, I hate them all. What I'm saying is the only two where I don't hate them with the burning of the sun, there's two. Aikman, who I don't hate, and Dion.
But why is that?
Well, Aikman, honestly, I feel like he always was respectful. I feel like he never said anything wrong. Like, I don't know. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Troy Aikman, and Dion was awesome. And Dion wasn't really a Cowboy. He was a Falcon.
He was a money boy. I call him the money boy. Wherever the money was, he's following.
And that dude transcended the game playing baseball, too, and stuff. Yeah. But other than that,
what about Jason Peters?
I hate Jason. Well, I hate Jason Peters. I don't like Jason. If you wore the uniform, I hate you. Like, by rule, I hate you. And it's been, I mean, from the time I was little to being a grown man, like, I hate Dallas. It's part of my tradition. It's not just rooting for the Eagles. It's also hating Dallas. Like, when people talk about what happens when Dallas plays the Giants, I don't root for this, that, the other thing. I hope they both lose. No, you mean a tie? No. I said what I said. I wish there was a way for them to both lose, because I don't want them to have a non-loss on their record. I hate them. But do people still join? Is this tradition a dying tradition? Is the hatred for Dallas in 2024 the same way it was in 2014, 04, 94? Is it the same hate? 74? I mean, it's been decades of hate. Is it still the same hate?
Honestly, I don't think it is. I've been to Cowboys games at the Vet. Now, that was hatred. Guys going down, they get standing ovations if they're on the other team being injured. I've seen this. I've been through it. I was at these games. And to be honest with you, I think the Cowboys have kind of put themselves into a area where they're really kind of nothingness. They're not very good. They haven't been good for a long period of time.
Well, I mean, they won a division last year.
They're not America's team.
Right, but they won a division last
backed into that division last year.
But they won the division last year.
My ass, Dak sucks. Yeah, so I guess I do have some hate there.
Well, I'm just saying, they won a division last year. It's not like they've been bad for 10 years. They won a division last year. Yeah,
but they never win anything.
Well, no,
they never win anything.
No,
They're never going. Yeah, how many times do they go to the playoffs? They just, done. We're done.
Well, that's what they do.
You know, and then you have Dak. Dak is a hate the face. There's no doubt about that. Jerry Jones is 100% a hate the face guy, and he's been there a while. See, for me, it was the Jimmy Johnson teams. I hated Jimmy Johnson. He was a smug, you know what, coming from University of Miami, thinking that he owned the world, and he did when he had the Cowboys back then. But, I mean, I had it. Yeah, I think you had a serious hate back then because they were also good, and they could win a Super Bowl back then. Now, I don't think anybody looks at them as a threat.
Right, but I still hate the Giants, and I don't think they can win a Super Bowl. For me, a person doesn't have to be good for me to hate them. I hate, first of all, in real life, I don't really go around throwing around the word hate in real life.
Dislike.
But, no, with Dallas, no, I hate them.
Yeah.
Okay. I hate them.
I'm one of the people that's also careful with the word hate, but I do say I hate Dallas.
I hate Dallas. But what I'm saying is, I dislike people that aren't doing well. Like, you don't have to be awesome for me to dislike you in real life, so why does your team have to be awesome for me to hate you in sports?
I guess you're right.
Dislike
you could definitely hate. You could definitely hate them. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I think a lot of people really dislike the Dallas Cowboys. Do I think it's as bad as it was in the 80s and 90s? No, I don't.
Well, Savannah, your generation is different. So, and we know you were raised in sports by your late father, old school.
Yeah.
He was old school. So even though you're young, he was old school.
So you were brought up right.
Right, you were brought up right, the right way. So, but overall, not just speaking for yourself, speaking for your generation, is the tradition that your father passed down to you of hating Dallas or your peers, is that tradition being passed down to them?
Yes, I can only speak for the people that I see.
Mm-hmm.
So I will always say that anyone my generation, like even throughout high school, college, whatever, anyone around my age group still hates Dallas, still hates the fans, cannot stand to see any fans whatsoever getting in arguments over social media when Dallas weeks comes. Everyone's always posting, blank Dallas, all the memes are coming out. I think it still holds true. Now, I think it might not come off as strong because I for one, do not see them as a threat. I still haven't seen them as a threat, even though they won the division last year. I knew that they were going to bounce in the playoffs anyways because that's just who they are. I think that hate is actually still there. So I'm not going to say that it's gone away throughout the years, but I will say that based off my experience, everyone my age group still hates Dallas.
I like to hear that.
I like to hear that. So 610-632-0975. And today we got Sean K was doing the show today.
Tanner.
Now I know he has two sons. And I got to call out all the parents out there.
Yeah.
I got to call out the parent. I'm not a parent, but I have to call them out. If you grew up in this area, if you're old enough to be a parent, unless I'm not talking about if you had the kid at 15, but I'm saying if you're old enough to be a parent, that means you grew up hating Dallas if you're from this area. I got to ask the parents out there, what are you doing to pass down this tradition? I got to call them out because the tradition is only passed if you pass it. Like, you go to grandma's house for Sunday dinner. Well, how does that become a tradition? Because people get in the car and they drive to grandma's house. If you don't do that, the tradition will die. I got to know. The parents out there, they're the big Eagles fans. And we know the Eagles are still king in Philadelphia. That is not a question. Are you doing everything you're supposed to do to pass down our tradition of hating Dallas? We don't want the Eagles to win 50-0. We want them to win 100-0. We don't want them to. Now we never want players to get injured, but we want guys to leave the game. But we don't. We don't like guys to get injured. Like, you don't root for injuries, but like against Dallas, it feels different. Once the game, you just hope to humiliate them.
Yep.
You see, other weeks I just want the Eagles to win. We've been very consistent on this show that just go get a victory. They're 7-point favorites. Can they go make sure they cover? Make sure on the road you win by double digits. I need you to cover against them. I need them feeling bad. because, and I got into the last layer of this early, with our word of the day being tradition. Part of the hatred is the local Dallas loser fans that live amongst us.
100%.
That
See,
plays
they're
a
the
role in it.
worst because
'Cause
they'll
they're
call in
roaches.
even in a bad year and they'll tee off
Because
on
they
us.
still listen. They listen to Philadelphia sports.
Which doesn't
Which
make
is
sense.
ridiculous.
I mean, we appreciate it, I
And they're
guess.
also just straight up delusional, by the way.
Always. I want all of you guys to suffer. I got to be honest. I have never wished anything good on any of you. And I wish I was joking. Like, I always want you guys to do bad, not just in life, not in sports, life, in everything. I wish no success for any of you. The local Dallas fan, to me, is borderline human. And I don't mean borderline human like that really great dog that's loyal. I mean borderline human in a bad way. I don't really want to say, but I just can't stand y'all. And that adds to the hate. But I got to know. Like, you know how, like, clearly the Mets hate the whole, because we see the Phillies people walking head in head with the Mets people. They think it's cute.
Yeah, that hasn't transferred.
I find that to be gross. Are there Eagles people out here in the city of Philadelphia marrying Cowboys fans?
All right. I knew from a young age that I was never to bring home a Cowboys fan.
Well, I think that used to be a tradition.
Never. And I will uphold that tradition.
Anywhere I go in my life, I can start talking bad about the Cowboys and not have to worry about a single Cowboys person being around me because they're not allowed to be around me. I don't let them be around me. They're not welcome at my house. I don't invite them to family dinners. I don't wish them happy birthday. I don't like them. Are we doing all we can to make sure that the local Cowboys fans recognize that they're hated?
I don't think so because, honestly, I remember a couple of games. Like, I used to have season tickets with my dad, and there were games, I swear on my life this is true, there were games that the Eagles were not playing the Cowboys, and there was 2 people wearing Cowboys jerseys at an Eagles game. What is wrong with them?
Yeah, see? Like
They're lacking just, like, I don't know, character, judgment, I don't know.
How about just good judgment?
That's right. And